Hello, beautiful friends and real estate investors. Do you ever get to the point where you're trying so hard and hustling so much? You've got so many goals and such big ideas that you just get to the point where you feel overwhelmed. And you're like, I can't seem to do anything right, or I just can't seem to make progress. It happens to me on this cycle. I notice that I get this cycle where I have a lot of energy and a lot of motivation, and I really dig in and really work hard at getting some things done, accomplished, the ball moved down the court, whatever analogy you wanted to use. But then I hit a point where I feel like I lose momentum, and I start to feel frustrated with myself because I have not been able to keep up the pace that I was, or I'm kind of slowing down, or things don't seem to be coming together like they were. And it's this repeated cycle. And I just kind of wanted to share that with you because I guarantee that some of you guys also feel this way. And so I want to give you a couple ideas and a couple things that have worked for me in this cycle to help me continue to push through. So first of all, the first thing is to recognize that it is a cycle, and you're not the only one that feels that way. You're not the only one that experiences this. In fact, high achievers, high performers routinely feel this way. We're never satisfied, or at least satisfied for long, with what we're doing and where we've come, because we have this vision for something else, for the next step, the next phase. I feel like God has gifted me with this ability to see what can be. I see that in buildings. I see that in people. I see that in businesses. I see the potential, and it is so inspiring and amazing. But the downside of that, or the dark side, is that it's hard sometimes for me to recognize and acknowledge and accept and be grateful and okay with what is, because I'm still thinking, 3, 5, 10 steps ahead. But that thinking ahead can sometimes be demotivating at the same time. I get motivated by it, but because I'm always thinking ahead, it feels like I'm never catching it. It's kind of like that carrot that dangles, but I can't ever catch it. So the antidote for me is a couple things. And I actually literally had a conversation with my own coach, commercial real estate coach, yesterday, which reminded and prompted me that it's time for me to do this. So there's two things I just want to share with you. One is recognize that it's just part of who you are. Accept it. It's okay. It's okay to feel frustrated. It's okay to feel these things. Life is, if we treat life with the expectation that our emotional state is always going to be quote unquote positive, you are going to be in for a rude awakening. And you're actually, I think, and I've seen this, you are going to spend more time frustrated if you don't just acknowledge and accept your current frustration. It's like trying to fight the waves in the ocean. You can't fight them. You may as well just let them come and work with it. So accept that you have the cycle. Accept that you are going to get frustrated at times, and it's just part of the process. And then after you've accepted it, what works for me is I go back to the basics. And what I mean by that is I go back to my calendar and scheduling, because I know that what matters needs to be on my calendar, because if it's not on my calendar, it's really not a priority, and it's probably not going to happen. And so I find that I allow my calendar to creep out of what my goals are. It's either because I get too lax in my calendaring over weeks or months. Or the other thing is I let things in that really don't need to be there because they're not really helping me meet what my immediate and near future goals are. And so I go back to my calendar. I look at my schedule. I'm like, okay, How am I going to lay out my week? I've got these 7 things every week on my calendar. And then I've got the open spaces around those things. So what am I going to do to fill my time? And I go back to what are the goals or the rocks that I have determined for this year. Make sure that they still are applicable, because sometimes they change, right? Sometimes you get an epiphany or you pivot a little bit in the year and your goals change a little bit. Totally fine. But just make sure you have documented that and it's been an intentional shift. But go back to that. Go back to that. Keep on going back to that. If you get frustrated and overwhelmed, go back to that. Okay, where am I wasting my time? Where am I spending energy, emotional and physical energy, that's not serving me or not serving my cause or my purpose at all? And then fix it. Realign your schedule with what you're wanting and where you're going. It's that simple and it's that hard. But every time that I feel overwhelmed, I do this and it completely deflates that overwhelmed feeling. It's like poking a needle in a balloon. It just goes. I feel so much better. I feel more aligned with my goals and my purpose. And when I feel aligned, I am more productive and I just have more energy. So when you feel overwhelmed, try those 2 things. One is, it's giving yourself an emotional hug. It's okay. This too shall pass. You're not the only one that feels this way. It's part of the journey. Just embrace it. But then secondly, go back to your calendar. Go back to your schedule. If you've never done a calendar, this is an opportunity for you to do that. But make sure the things you have in your week are intentional and by your design, not by the design of people that aren't contributing to your overall goals in your life. I hope this was valuable for you. Thank you so much for watching. We'll see you on the next one.